Greetings class, today I'm going to assist you on how the heart works. But before we look at how the heart works, you need to know this, okay? I'm going to draw something here. You need to know what we call the main four chambers of the heart. Four chambers of the heart. So I'm going to draw a rectangle like this. Okay, let me do this. Let me show you what you call the four main chambers of the heart. So draw something like this. You can just draw on your notebook. Okay. So kunoku ndo ku right side, then kunoku ndo ku left side. So kana wakatarisa heart, ku right side kwako ndo ku left kwe heart, then ku left side kwako ndo ku right kwe heart. So kunoku ndo ku right, and on the upper chamber we have what you call the upper chambers. My upper chambers, they are called atria. They are called atria. And kana wanda it becomes atrium. So kumsoro kunoku tichawana right atrium. Anditika right atrium. Then kunoku tichawana left atrium. Okay, then kunoku zasiuku anonzi my lower chambers. My lower chambers, they are well known as ventricles. Okay, so kunoku tichawana inonzi right ventricle, then kunoku tichawana inonzi left ventricle. Anditika. So in simple terms, let me just show you something which is very, very simple. What is the main function of the upper chambers, well known as the atriums? Okay, what is the main function of the upper chambers? The upper chambers are well known as the receiving chambers. Why did you receiving chambers? Because anongo receiver, they are specializing on the receiving and receiving and receiving. These are four main chambers. And the lower chambers, they are well known as the pumping chambers. Why they are called the pumping chambers? Because they specialize on pumping. They specialize on pumping. So as I'm going to explain how the heart works, you are going to see that the right atrium or the upper chambers, the left and the right atrium, they specialize only on the receiving. And also the lower chambers, which is the right ventricle and the left ventricle, they specialize only on pumping the blood. Okay, so let me show you something here. You also need to know what you call the four main valve. Apo waziyama four chambers. Kuna anonzi ma upper chambers. Ndo kune right atrium and the left atrium. Kweta anonzi ma lower chambers. Ndo kune inonzi right ventricle and left ventricle. Then between right atrium and left ventricle, and also between right atrium and right ventricle and left atrium and left ventricle, pan announce my valves. My valves, what is the main function of the valve in general? The main function of the valve is to prevent backward flow of blood into the previous chambers. No main function. So ndichakusanangurira ma valve kuti why akamira akadai so zvakaita izvo. Why akamira akadaro? Isuka natichiti ma valves, they are there to prevent backflow of blood. So we have four valves again. Number one is called the tricuspid valve. This is the tricuspid valve, which is found between the right atrium and the right ventricle. And also we have what we call the bicuspid valve. The bicuspid valve is found between left atrium and left ventricle. Then between this one and this one, tinoana isusi inonzi pulmonary valve, toana futi inonzi aortic valve. These are four main valves that we have. So already now wakuziya kuti pa heart pana anonzi ma chambers. And my four chambers, number one is right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Was my chambers. And after that, it is important for you to know what you call the four main valves. Number one, tatino's tricuspid valve. Number two, tikatino's bicuspid valve. Number three, tikatino's aortic valve. Number four, tikatino's pulmonary valve. Okay? So I'm going to explain now with the heart. Inopamba sei ropa rinozofamba sei in the heart distributed to the rest of the body parts. Okay, so I want you to listen here. tisati tapinda imomo unofana kuziva inonzi the superior vena cava. And this is it. What is the function of the superior vena cava? The superior vena cava is there to carry deoxygenated blood. And we all know that deoxygenated blood, it is blood without oxygen, or it is blood poor, rich in oxygen. Okay, so superior vena cava is a blood that is poor in oxygen, or blood with no oxygen. That's why it is deoxygenated blood. So function here, this superior vena cava, listen, function of this superior vena cava is to carry deoxygenated blood from the head, or from the neck, or from the arms, or from the chest. And as you can see, in simple terms, superior vena cava, it carries blood above the parts of the heart. Above the parts of the heart. Heart can pass as my parts are above the heart. Is superior vena cava, each other deoxygenated blood from those parts. Okay, then we have what you call the inferior vena cava. So chekutanga was superior vena cava. Function of superior vena cava is to carry deoxygenated blood from the head, neck, arms, or the chest to the right atrium. Then we have what you call the inferior vena cava. What is the function of the inferior vena cava? Is to carry again deoxygenated blood from the legs, from the feet, or other organisms that are below the heart. No one below the what? The heart. Then you carry that deoxygenated blood each and into the right what? Atrium. So chekutanga chinoitika pahati ndechekuti tinofanira kuva the superior vena cava. Tofanirwa futi kuva the inferior vena cava. Zvese zvichitakira blood from for this one, superior vena cava is going to carry blood from the head, neck, arms, and the chest. It deposit into the right atrium. And also the inferior vena cava is going to carry deoxygenated blood from the legs and the feet. You deposit again into the right atrium. So I hope you are following. Okay? So chitereraone zvirikiitika. Tine mavalve aya. Atati mavalves aya, their main function is to prevent backflow of blood. Saka ukaterera mavalve aya akadai so. As you can see. Andubona. Why akadai so? So that the blood parinobuda muno right atrium. Richipinda pana pane pa valve. Ichi valve chinobva close kudai. So that akuchina blood rapinda muno mu right ventricle chadzoka back into the right atrium. Hakuna izvo. Ndosaka tichiti ma valves, they prevent backflow of what? Of blood. Okay? I hope you are following. So what is going to happen here, right? My right atrium here receive deoxygenated blood from the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Is going to carry that blood through the tricuspid valve. Ichiendesa into the right ventricle. So patati chiti ma upper chambers, which is right atrium ne left atrium, ma receivers, as you can see, right atrium here receive deoxygenated blood from the superior vena cava, and also it receives deoxygenated blood from the inferior what? Vena cava. Then after I receive blood from the inferior vena cava and the superior vena cava, yapa carry that blood through the tricuspid valve. Ndo vayaendesa mnonzi mu right atrium. Uchaona kuti right atrium tai refer as ma pumping chambers. Ndo atati ma lower chambers, they are well known as pumping what? Pumping chambers. And ma pumping chambers iwayo iya receive deoxygenated blood. Icha pamba blood hero. Ya pamba blood hero icha bayari zorera. Yoriendesa kunonzi ku pulmonary artery. Zvirubatika. Yaendesa ku pulmonary artery, blood iroro again richapinda through inonzi pulmonary valve. Why it is called pulmonary valve? Because it accepts the blood from the right ventricle to pass through richienda kune inonzi pulmonary artery. That's why it is pulmonary valve, because blood rikupinda apa rikuenda into the pulmonary artery. So each abayatora blood yoendesa through the pulmonary valve, yoenda ku pulmonary artery. Then after the pulmonary artery receives deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle is going to transport that blood yoendesa into the lungs. Yaendesa into the lungs. Why pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle into the lungs? It carries deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle into the lungs for oxygenation, which means for addition of oxygen to the blood, which means blood reaches over my lungs rich in oxygen. Why? Because right were oxygenated, right oxygen. Okay, then once blood rava oxygenated in the lungs, it is now the function of the pulmonary vein to carry that oxygenated blood from the lungs into the left atrium. As you can see again, left atrium ya receive oxygenated blood from the lungs. And the transportation yatika papo yakonzereswa inonzi pulmonary veins. So pulmonary veins anotora oxygenated blood from the lungs oendesa into the left atrium. Then after the left atrium receives oxygenated blood, each item passing through that oxygenated blood through inonzi bicuspid valve. Yopinda iyo into the left ventricle. Then left ventricle yagamuchira oxygenated blood from the left atrium. Ichabva yapamba that blood yoendesa through the aortic valve. Why it is aortic valve? Because iri kuendesa kaku aorta. Anditi? So blood oxygenated richatorwa from the left ventricle roendeswa through the aortic valve ropinda rakadai into the aorta. Shirubatika era. And what is the function of the aorta? After the aorta receives oxygenated blood, the aorta is going to carry blood from the heart and it goes to the rest of the body parts. And please take note of that. The blood that is being distributed to the rest of the body or that is being carried to the rest of the body by the aorta is oxygenated blood. Saka aorta ichatora oxygenated blood you distributed to the rest of the body parts. And take note of that. Aorta iri kusenga oxygenated blood. So let me make it clear. All right? Just look at this. This is final. Abanachisana got functions and stuff like that. Alright, superior vena cava ichakera blood from the heart, from the head or the neck. You end into the right atrium. Inferior vena cava ichakera deoxygenated blood from the feet or from the legs. You end into the right atrium. Then the right atrium yotora blood hiroro you end into the right ventricle. Then right ventricle yopamba blood. Yapamba blood yoriendesao ku pulmonary artery through the pulmonary vein. Then the pulmonary vein after receiving deoxygenated blood. Ichabva deoxygenated blood yoendesa into the lungs. Ukundo kunechiro kunema lungs. Then after the lungs receives deoxygenated blood, the lungs, after receiving deoxygenated blood, is going to add oxygen to the blood. So that blood renova oxygenated blood. Kuno kurava resina oxygen. But parapinda into the lungs. Rapindira ikoko for oxygenation. So richa ederwa oxygen here. Then after blood rava rich in oxygen or well known as oxygenated blood, the pulmonary is going to carry that oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atrium. And after the left atrium receives oxygenated blood, the left atrium is going to carry that oxygenated blood through the bicuspid valve yoendesa into the left ventricle. And after the left ventricle receives the blood from the left atrium, which is oxygenated blood, this one is going to pump blood yoendesa through the aortic valve to the aorta. Then after that, what is the function of the aorta after receiving oxygenated blood or blood that is rich in oxygen? The aorta is going to carry blood from the heart to the rest of the body. And please make sure to write that the aorta is going to carry oxygenated blood, because blood it's oxygenated blood. Remember up front pamalangs don't variety oxygenated. Sakarava oxygen. So aorta ya receive oxygenated blood from the left ventricle. And then the aorta is going to carry or distribute oxygenated blood iroro to the rest of the body parts. To the rest of the body what? Parts. That's how the heart works. So chiri important kuziya ma chambers. Tati pane 1 right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Koita anonzi ma valve. Pane tricuspid valve, pulmonary valve, aortic valve, bicuspid valve. No 4 valves. So tine 4 ma chambers toita 4 ma valves. Then also zivawo is inferior vena cava ne superior vena cava, especially the difference between superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. I think you are assisted.